Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Get into this topic here. So there was some beef brewing in these streets over the weekend, right? As you guys know, Kendrick Perkins has been a longtime LeBron James supporter. He was one of the first people at ESPN calling LeBron James the greatest player of all time, right? And when he said that, some of us were looking at Kendrick Perkins like, really? That's what you believe? That's what you believe? But Kendrick Perkins has been pushing that LeBron James agenda, right? And then throughout his time at ESPN, he also revealed that apart from him and LeBron James being teammates in Cleveland, although they used to go back and forth against each other when he was on the Celtics and LeBron was on the Cavs, and when LeBron, I think, was on the Heat. I'm not sure if Kendrick Perkins was still there. But anyway, he also revealed that they've been friends since, or they've known each other since they were about the ages of 10, right? They've known each other for a very long time. But what started to happen over the last few months was that we started to see Kendrick Perkins call out one antic after the other from LeBron James. And a lot of us were like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? I thought that was your man. Like, what's going on here, right? And whenever Kendrick Perkins would keep it real on LeBron, it would surprise a lot of us because we're like, well, this guy's a LeBron guy. He's in a LeBron camp. And then about a month or so ago, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins were going at LeBron. And then Kendrick Perkins said on live TV on ESPN that he thinks LeBron should retire. And he feels like the more LeBron continues on like this, the more it's hurting his legacy. And then Stephen A. Smith revealed some other stuff that Kendrick Perkins is personally beginning to think of removing LeBron out of the GOAT conversation. We're like, what is going on here? So what happened? This weekend, there was a story that was kind of circulating around the internet. And I see some people try to make it a big story. But I was like, when I was seeing it, I was laughing. I'm like, this ain't about nothing, right? This ain't about nothing. I wasn't paying too much attention to it. I'm like, what's the big deal here? But some people started responding to it. So essentially what happened was Kendrick Perkins wrote on his Instagram, everybody didn't follow Jesus, I'll be okay. And Kendrick Perkins put that out basically in response to the news that LeBron James had unfollowed him on, I think, Instagram or Twitter. So what happened this morning, I was going through the internet here and I came across a clip from the show, the podcast, I think it's called Road Tripping with Richard Jefferson and some other people. And who do they have on there? They had on none other than Kendrick Perkins himself. And in this clip, they actually brought up this whole news of LeBron James and following Kendrick Perkins. And Kendrick Perkins actually addressed it. So what we want to do is want to get into the comments that Kendrick Perkins had to make as he responded to the news of LeBron James unfollowing him after his strong comments on ESPN. And I want to come back and react to this story. Take a listen to this here.
Everybody's asking the one question, Big Perky Lurky.
Oh, shit. What, man?
Are you really going to go there, Channing?
Yeah, we have to. Yeah. That's what the people want.
What you got to save it?
We'll save it?
You want to save it?
No, go ahead.
No, Perk. Hey, you got unfollowed, buddy. Take that, Perk.
Oh. Did you see my quote tweet?
Yeah,
you need to explain the quote tweet.
Yeah, everybody ain't follow Jesus. I'm okay.
Okay. Well, why y'all break up? Why y'all break up?
Hey, man, look. Hey, some people be like LMA, man. You know what I'm saying? They be in their feelings.
Is that are y'all both in y'all feelings?
Here's the thing, right? And I'm gonna leave it at this. The one thing about it is this, bro. I have a job to do, okay? And I'm gonna do my job, and I'm not gonna let anybody persuade me to say something that I don't want to say, right? I'm gonna critique everybody fairly. If you're doing well, I'm gonna give you your flowers. If I feel like you're on some bullshit, I'm gonna call you out on it. You know what I'm saying? That's part of my job. And to be honest with you, since we here, y'all got time? Because I can dive into it. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? Real talk. Like, I bust my ass to get in this position that I am in this media space, right? And my thing is, we all know this. Hall of Famers, franchise guys, when they retire, they get the red carpet rolled out for them in the media space, whether they good or not. We know this, right? Like, let's not. So you got to work to get to a certain standpoint of where you at. And I'm continuing to grow, and I'm trying to get better every single day. My thing is, working at a network, if they feel like that you're being biased in any type of way, especially coming from a guy that was a former role player in the league, your ass gonna be on the chopping block. So I'm just saying, like, you know, if first of all, my phone always on. I don't duck and dodge or anybody phone calls or text messages. If you got a problem with something I said, I didn't talk to plenty of people about things I done said on the television, right? Like, whether they agree or not. Like, even for example, an incident where I was like with Tobias Harris. You remember I was like, oh yeah, Tobias, man, they asked he told the team he was going to Chick-fil-A. He asked them what they wanted, and he came back with a bag full of napkins and straws, right? Because he So look, I said it in a joking manner, but I did get a phone call from his dad, right? And I was like, okay,
Channing's uncle.
Yeah, his dad represented him, like he's his agent. So I answered the phone, and we had an hour conversation about it. I didn't take back what I said, but we talked about. I didn't, but we talked about it though. We talked about, you know, Tobias and his role with Philadelphia and things to that nature. Not even diving into details, but look, if somebody go unfollow me on Twitter, man, or social media because of something I said on TV, okay, cool. Here's the thing, right? Last thing, I got 4 kids. I got 3 boys, 16, 12, and 7.
Ooh,
I'm teaching.
You nasty.
Stop, Shannon. Listen, man. I'm teaching. I'm raising leaders over here, not followers. Okay, and I'm also raising my boys to be respectful, but at the same time, never to walk in the room. I don't give a damn with who you walk in the room with. Never to feel less than anybody. No man. But you don't feel like you're above nobody as well, right? Like, so my thing is that at the end of the day, I cannot kiss nobody ass because of something that I said on television. I won't do it. I won't do it. And if that calls for somebody to be upset with me and not follow me on social media and don't talk to me, then damn it, the friendship wasn't what it was anyway.
So you heard what Kendrick Perkins had to say. I'm just going to tell y'all from the jump, this is hilarious to me. This is absolutely hilarious to me. Because you got LeBron guys turning on LeBron. It's so funny. Yesterday I was watching a show from this guy. I don't know. I don't remember who he is. Some guy, I think it was a LeBron fan. And he was reacting to this Kendrick Perkins story. He was so mad. He was so mad at Kendrick Perkins. Like, this clown, this buffoon, who Kendrick Perkins think he is. I'm like, yo, LeBron fans are really tight of Kendrick Perkins, man, because, you know, he's committing a mutiny, right? A mutiny. Bloody mutiny. You know, he's changing colors. He's like, yo, I'm out, right? But on a serious note, look, who do I think loses out in this case? LeBron or Kendrick Perkins? I think it's LeBron, and I don't even think it's close. Some of you are like, really? LeBron? Billionaire LeBron? One of the greatest players of all time, LeBron? Yeah, I think that LeBron. I think he loses out in a situation like this, and I'll tell you why. A lot of what we think about LeBron has been created by these people that go on TV and basically promote the LeBron James agenda. The Nick Wrights, the Shannon Sharps, the Gilbert Arenases, the Kendrick Perkins, I think Colin Cowherds to a certain extent. These people are responsible for the way some of you guys feel about LeBron. They've been able to subtly impose their views on you. And these people are very important to the LeBron James legacy because LeBron and Klutch and these guys have a lot of guys that argue on his behalf on television. And the moment he starts to lose these voices, right, of course, Chris Broussard as well, it will begin to hurt his GOAT debate, because these are the people that are convincing NBA fans, impressionable NBA fans, that LeBron is on the level of Michael Jordan. They're the ones doing it. And if LeBron starts to slowly lose these guys, his perception will change, because these are the guys that are promoting this nonsense. If LeBron lost out Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, if he lost Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, and Gilbert Arenas, his whole GOAT debate nonsense would be in major jeopardy. So it behooves LeBron to maintain these relationships. Now, some could say, well, if you lose LeBron, if you lose Kendrick Perkins, you go out there and get somebody else. Yeah, but there aren't that many big names. He's not going to get Stephen A. Smith. He's been able to get Stephen A. Smith to the extent of saying, okay, he's the second greatest player of all time, but he's not going to get him to say he's the GOAT. He's not going to be able to get Skip Bayless to say he's the GOAT. I think there are a few other people out there that he's not going to be able to get. So if he loses these people, then he's going to it's definitely going to damage his legacy, because these are the guys that are arguing on his behalf. If LeBron just left it to the footage and the stats, he would be in trouble. So he needs these guys to go out there and promote him. Right. And if he starts losing them, I think he loses ultimately. Let me get into this topic here. So there's a beef kind of brewing in these streets between Kendrick Perkins and his man, LeBron James. As you guys know, Kendrick Perkins is one of the people, the bigger voices in sports media, that has said that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. When he says it, when any of these guys say it, I'm sitting here looking at them, I'm like, what are y'all even talking about, right? Like, what exactly are you guys even talking about, right? But nevertheless, he's been pushing the LeBron James train. But what happened? Something interesting occurred just over a month ago. Stephen A. Smith on, I think it was on the Stephen A. Smith show or on ESPN First Take, maybe one of those places, revealed that Kendrick Perkins or LeBron had actually been sending people to approach Kendrick Perkins over his views of LeBron James on ESPN, because they didn't correlate with the views that they wanted him to put out to the public. For those of you guys who were unaware of this or maybe forgot about this, want to quickly play what Stephen A. Smith had to say here, and then we're going to come back and continue on. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say there.
We're going to make sure that LeBron James' camp doesn't get to pull off what they will try to pull off. Because you see, the narrative is already, we're blaming LeBron James for the firing of coaches. That's not what this discussion is. What this discussion is us debating that another firing that has occurred under his watch, whether or not that compromises quote-unquote GOAT status in the eyes of a Shannon Sharp or Kendrick Perkins or Stephen A. Smith and others. That is what the debate is. See, they'll leave. And what they'll say is, oh, LeBron James is getting blamed for the firing. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that you're not as innocent and you're not some just mere spectator in this whole scenario the way you try to pretend to be. That is what we're saying. We're not going to let LeBron James and his camp get away with that. We're not blaming him for the firing. What we're saying is you can't be as great as you proclaim to be, as we know you are, in today's NBA game, and be completely innocent and oblivious and distant, having nothing to do with the firing of yet another coach. That is impossible. That's all we're saying. But having said all of that, while acknowledging that that's a reality that he has to live with, there's a bigger narrative to touch on. And that is the fact that LeBron James has brought these debates on himself, Shannon, because of this insatiable appetite he has to control narratives. It's what he does. Nobody, I repeat, nobody, no star in the history of sports has gone about the business of methodically, systematically, continuously trying to control the narrative. And I have proof. That podcast that him and JJ Redick have, let me be the first to say, it's a great podcast. You want to learn some basketball. You listen to them brothers. I ain't throwing no shade on them. I love JJ and the job he's doing. I appreciate LeBron, his greatness, and his cerebral approach, educating us about the game of basketball. But why would you choose to do that in your 21st season approaching age 40? Because you know why? You want to make sure that you're the guy that gets to put your fingerprints on narratives, because you have proven throughout the years that you care about that. Well, we're here to say, yo, you got your approach, we got ours. You got your penchant for control of the narrative, we got ours. And oh, by the way, you're talking about you. So therefore, you ain't gonna be but so objective. We, on the other hand, are going to be very objective. Shannon, you and I disagree, but we don't fail to acknowledge the greatness of LeBron James and how he's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. Kendrick Perkins, you are a friend. You've known this man for decades, which is why you repeatedly will tell people to kiss your ass when they come to you trying to tell you how you supposed to be talking to and about LeBron James. Who the hell are they? Because you know them. You see what I'm saying? But you've had to do it. Why did you have to do it, Kendrick Perkins? Because that man allowed people to approach you to try to infiltrate a narrative he may have disagreed with that you, me, Shannon, or somebody else has put forth. This is what he does. This is what he has done. And there is no escaping that.
Fantastic. So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say there, right? So what happened? This morning, I came across a clip from Road Trip in the podcast, and they asked Kendrick Perkins to talk about this whole LeBron James unfollowing him story, and he was talking about it. And towards the tail end of this clip, Kendrick Perkins then also reveals that Rich Paul would call him on the behalf of LeBron James when he would kind of step out of line. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with these people here? So what we want to do now, I want to play exactly what Kendrick Perkins had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to that there.
And guess what?
I mean, people are mad that they're not following around the next coach for the Lakers in the aerospace.
I know.
People are mad. Like, it's.
But guess what? On some real I consider each one of y'all seriously as my friends. That's why I'm on here, right? Okay. In a group message y'all drop, we talk about the game of basketball all the time. I would never, ever say in a group or tell one of y'all to say, you know what? Y'all don't me no more because y'all don't talk to me because y'all still broad. No, like y'all keep y'all friendship with him, because I would never put y'all in the middle of it. And our friendship is our friendship. If me and Brian ever happen to cross paths and we want to talk about it and have a conversation, I'm here for it. I'm not going to bash his name behind his back to anybody. I'm not going to do none of that. I really haven't even spoke on this shit.
You haven't. You haven't.
Huh?
You haven't.
I really don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, the sad part about it is like, bro, I don't need a phone call. Just the last part. Bro, we go back since like 99, 2000. I don't need a 2000s. Yeah, I don't need a phone call from Rich Paul, bro, to speak on your behalf. Like, you got my phone number. You do. Like, if you really feel some type of way, dog, just hit me. And if I feel like I was wrong on something, I apologize, and then we move on from it.
So you heard what Kendrick Perkins had to say. Boy, this is some funny business going on here. It really is. It really is. My question is, what is this need? What is this desperation to constantly promote LeBron as the best player of all time? And if it doesn't happen, we have these situations that occur like this. Like, what is the need for all of this? Why does this situation even exist? Right? Why does it exist? And the crazy part about all of this is the LeBron fans. I'm going to call you guys out. Don't y'all be seeing this? Yeah, but hold on. Let me ask LeBron fans a serious question. Do you honestly believe that all of these people that are running around on television hollering and screaming LeBron, y'all think they really believe that? Is it not clear to you guys that these guys are being influenced to say say these things? You really believe that they believe what they're saying? You really believe that Shannon Sharp believes LeBron is the greatest player of all time when he was calling Michael Jordan the next thing, God or whatever, and then Kobe Bryant was right there. You really believe Nick Wright is serious about what he's saying when you can go back and pull up some of those old tweets about him? You really believe these guys? You really believe when Joy Taylor and Steven Jackson said, we know you're being painted at the table to say all of this stuff? Y'all didn't feel nothing when that was said? You don't feel nothing when you have all of these guys coming out with being connected to Klutch Sports and all of that? You don't feel nothing? You didn't feel nothing when Rick Bucher said that Klutch Sports was sending him emails to vote for LeBron James for regular season MVP? Y'all don't feel nothing? That don't bother y'all? That don't resonate with y'all? Y'all just gotta go along with, like, this is I don't even understand. Like, what is this? I don't even understand, right? And LeBron is pretty astute. That's why he started that podcast. LeBron must always be in control of the narrative. He must always be out there to promote himself. And what I don't understand is LeBron is a bloody billionaire. Why do you even care? I don't understand it. I just don't. Where do you even find the time to sit down on the podcast and be talking? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know why LeBron cares so much. Like, there are people that say all type of nonsense about Jordan every single day on television, and Jordan just lives his GOAT status, living his multi-billion-dollar life, and that's it. I don't get why the narrative must be that LeBron is the greatest player of all time. If it doesn't happen, you have these people jumping all over the place and trying to contact this person and contact the next person. As you guys know, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence just had a big box office, a big movie that just dropped, Bad Boys. I think Bad Boy for Life. And I'm a huge fan of the Bad Boy series, although I didn't like the third one, but the first two ones were just amazing. The second one was just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Just crazy, but pretty funny movie. So going into, the debut weekend before the movie dropped, Stephen A. Smith took to the Stephen A. Smith show to take a pretty obtuse approach to this entire story. When Stephen A. Smith was discussing Will Smith, he went on to say that he suspects the movie to do poor, and he said that one of the reasons he believes that Will Smith's movie is not going to do well is because of that infamous slap that he had on Chris Rock during the Oscars, during the live televised event. And he said that Will Smith owes the black community an apology for what he did to Chris Rock. And people all over the internet have been flame broiling Stephen A. Smith on his channel. I just saw a clip this morning from the Breakfast Club. They roasted him up over there. And everybody's been like, bro, what the hell are you talking about? Will Smith owes us an apology. He doesn't owe anyone an apology. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say on the Stephen A. Smith show for you guys. And then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what your man had to say here.
I bring that up because I wanted to get to the latest installment of the Bad Boys franchise. Bad Boys, Ride or Die, which debuted Wednesday. It's the second best reviewed film after Bad Boys for Life. That's what they're telling me. It's also the biggest film for Will Smith since his infamous 2022 Oscars slap of the great comedian himself, the one and only Chris Rock. Pre-sales for Ride or Die are behind that of Bad Boys for Life, of course, which hit a franchise high opening of 101 million worldwide back in early 2020. Domestic projections for Ride or Die were at 50 million, but that reportedly simmered to 40 million. Could the lack of pre-sales be because people have not forgiven Will Smith for that slap right there? How much you want to make a bet it does? And this is why I wanted to have this discussion with y'all. Because I want to emphasize that right now, as we see Will Smith and Martin Lawrence on the circuit promoting this new film, once upon a time, you couldn't find a bigger fan of Will Smith than me. Martin Lawrence, you can't find a bigger fan of Martin Lawrence than me. Ladies and gentlemen, in all likelihood, I'm going to go see Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Because I'm such a huge Martin Lawrence fan. And believe it or not, I still will never stop being a Will Smith fan. I'm not surprised at all that pre-sales have simmered. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it ultimately plummeted once all is said and done. And you know why I feel that way, ladies and gentlemen? Because I think that I'm speaking not for everybody, not for most, but at the very least millions of people out there when I say what I'm about to say. I'm not nearly as interested as seeing Will Smith in the movies than I am of seeing him doing an actual sit-down interview with somebody to explain why he did what he did.
So you heard what your man Stephen A. Smith had to say. I want to quickly read an article from The Hollywood Reporter that I believe was published yesterday. Let me read the headline. Box office. Will Smith's Bad Boy 4 delivers huge victory for actor with $56 million US debut, $104 million globally. Continues on. Sony's Bad Boy Ride or Die jolted the battered summer box office back to life with a better than expected domestic opening of $56 million and $104 globally. Moreover, it put Will Smith on the road to a career comeback 2 years after his infamous Oscar slap. Ride or Die reuniting Smith and Martin Lawrence is the fourth outing in the Sony's long-running franchise and earned an A- cinema score in North America alongside generally positive reviews. Just as promising, 44% of the audience was between the ages of 18 and 34, showing Smith has a following among younger consumers. Black moviegoers made up the largest quadrant of the audience with 44%. Ride or Die is arguably the first film of the summer to come in notably ahead of Tracking, which had it opening at 48 million to 50 million range. It also is the second biggest domestic launch of the season behind Kingdom of the Planet of Apes, which debuted to 58 million domestically. The movie's start overseas is equally as promising, which grossed 46 million from 60 markets, 58% of Faraja, Mad Max, and then the article goes on to say a few other things. It says the $100 million film is the follow-up to Bad Boys for Life, which opened to 62 million domestically in January, on its way to earning 426 million at the box office before theaters were shut down due to the pandemic. The Bad Boys series produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. By the way, Jerry Bruckheimer has the best action chase scenes in all of Hollywood. All of those Transformers action scenes, all of those scenes that you see from Bad Boys and all of that. That's Jerry Bruckheimer. I'm thinking of oh my God, that's the producer. I'm thinking of the Michael Bay. Michael Bay. He did the original Bad Boy 1 and Bad Boy 2. Michael Bay can make some damn action movies. Let's get into it here. Well, it looks like Mr. Smith was wrong. The community that he believes Will Smith owes an apology to, they came out in droves to support Will Smith. And I think the reason that is because the black community always supported Will Smith to begin with. Were people disappointed? 100%. But I don't think they threw him away. Right? I don't think they threw him away, number one. Number two, in terms of an apology, he only needs to apologize to Chris Rock, because he's the one that he hit Chris Rock. Why would he? I never sat back watching that situation like, man, Will Smith really owes me an explanation. Like, why would he owe me an explanation? Why? And why would I want one? Why would I want one? So Stephen A. Smith really stepped his foot in this one. And you know what's funny about this? Is that I was defending Stephen A. Smith over the Monica McNutt situation. And people were like, look, Stephen A. Smith, people were just mad at him for the general fact of being mad at him. And I understand why they're mad at him, because I've been pissed off at him too. But I think it's situations and moments like this that make people get fed up with Stephen A. Smith. It's like, what, bro, what are you doing? What are you even talking about right now? Right? And I think a lot of people are displeased with his comments. And clearly they were wrong-headed. Clearly they were wrong. Because again, black moviegoers came out in droves to support Will Smith. You know, and if I have an opportunity to see the movie, I'm gonna say I didn't like the last one. Hopefully this one is good. It got a good score. So I'll probably check this one out too. But the most interesting part about all of this is I don't know what elicited or solicited that comment from Steve. I don't know what motivated him to say that. I don't know what prism he was looking at this situation through to be like, you know what? Will Smith owes the black. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Appreciate you guys. Let me get into this topic here. So yesterday there was a pretty big game in the association. It was game 2 of the NBA Finals. As you guys know, game 1, the Dallas Mavericks got routed in that game. But in game 2, they came out and put forth a bit more of a competitive effort, but ultimately they ended up losing to the Boston Celtics. And let me just pull up the box score in a 105-98 contest, right? But going into that game, there was a pretty interesting storyline that was kind of circulating out there. And that storyline was, who is truly the best player on the Boston Celtics? Because Jason Kidd had came out there and said he believes Jaylen Brown is their best player. And then there was a soundbite of Drew Holiday saying that Jaylen Brown is their best player. And it created this kind of conversation. So what happened? In yesterday's game, they went into that game, and I think it was an opportunity for Jason Tatum to kind of answer some of these comments. But Jason Tatum, in 2 consecutive games, has not even been able to make an argument for himself. Although the Boston Celtics won that game, Jason Tatum shot 27% from the field and scored 18 points in that game. He had 3 turnovers. Their best player, or their most efficient player yesterday, was Drew Holiday with 26 points on damn near 79% shooting from the field, 50% shooting from the 300% from the free throw line. And he finished that game with 11 big rebounds, 2 assists, and 0 turnovers. But Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, he was also a bright spot. He finished the game was shooting 53% from the field and 21 points. Now, he did have 6 turnovers, which made his plus minus -3. But overall, he had a better game, right? He had a better game. And now it seems like the conversation is really starting to become real, where people believe that Jaylen Brown is the better player on the Boston Celtics. And that's what we want to get into really more in depth here today. Now, what's interesting is before we produced this show, we actually put up a poll on our channel community section about 33 minutes ago. You guys can also go vote on the poll if you haven't voted. By the time you see this show, it'd be a number of hours prior to us releasing this poll. But we asked the question, who's the Boston Celtics best player? Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? Out of the 785 voters, 70% are voting for Jaylen Brown, have voted Jaylen Brown. Another person said one person said Jaylen Brown's handled pressure well, and he seems like a leader. Some players are elite and shrink with pressure, and some are elite and grow with pressure. The Celtics have one of each. Ooh, ouch. Another person said Kristaps Porzingis. Another person said there's no clear dominant player. It's 1A, 1B. If their egos don't ruin it, they probably win a few championships together. And a few other people had 1 or 2 other things to say about it. Coming into this series, I think most of us picked Jason Tatum to be the better player, right? I think all of us agreed with that. So that wasn't, you weren't breaking any news if you said Jason Tatum is their best player. Certainly, a lot of people have been arguing on his behalf this whole season. Why doesn't he get enough respect, especially in the MVP conversation and all of that? So whenever they refer to the Boston Celtics, they always refer to Jason Tatum. But in the playoffs, Jaylen Brown has been a really bright spot. I think he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP award, and he even went up there and said he was surprised that he even won the award. But he's been playing at a very, very, very high level all throughout these playoffs, and he has been the better player for the Boston Celtics in these first 2 games of the NBA Finals. Here's what I think is going to happen. Well, first of all, let's discuss this series. Do I think Dallas has a chance to come back in this series? Yes, I do. I'm not going to cast any judgment on this series until Game 3 is played and Game 4 is played. Once those games are over with, then we'll really have a better understanding. Now, if Dallas goes and drops one of those games, then I think it's fair to say that this series will be over. But for now, I'm not ready to go that far. Let me see how this series pans out. I think I picked the Mavs to win this series. I think I picked them I think it was either 6 or 7. I don't know. But I think I remember picking the Mavs to win this series. So it's still time. We'll have to see how that goes. But in terms of who's the better player between these 2 guys, right now, thus far, I think it's looked like Jaylen Brown. I think if the Boston Celtics win this finals and Jaylen Brown has an opportunity or ends up winning the finals MVP, I think then people will automatically change that opinion and say that, look, no, Jaylen Brown is the better player. Now, I know this is something that bothers Jason Tatum, because when Jason Kidd originally said that, he said a lot of people are trying to draw a wedge between us and all. So that means that he believes he's the best player. So for him to hear other people saying that Jaylen Brown is a better player than he is, it seems like it is news to him, right? It seems like it is news to him and something he probably didn't hear before. But look, you're on the finals. If you believe that you are the best player in the world, you got to show it with your performance. This is the biggest stage, and you gotta live up to the moment. Luka Doncic certainly is. Kyrie isn't. Now, we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks quickly. Kyrie Irving isn't. Kyrie Irving isn't playing at a level that you would need him to play in order for this series to be competitive. Luka's been playing well, although I think this last game he had like 8 turnovers or something, which is horrendous. But Kyrie isn't playing very well.